Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai. You gotta do the chant.
No, I don't. Why is my chair sinking down?
And then the last
What's
season.
going on?
This season.
Wait,
What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm not doing anything.
I'm not involved in this.
I don't know what happened. My chair's sinking. Welcome to Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast, the show that strikes first and shows no mercy. So, hello. I'm your co-host, Melanie Gibson, and I'm wearing this badass Cobra Kai sweatshirt that AJ got me for Christmas, and I'm drinking a Coors Banquet because my parents will be disappointed if I don't have alcohol in our podcast. They've come to expect it. And I wanted to see what's so great about these little Coors Banquets. I don't know how to flick the bottle cap. I can barely even take off a bottle cap, so I'm just going to drink this shit.
That's man's work, taking off bottle caps. I still don't understand how he...
Oh, interesting.
...does that.
Yeah, I don't know how he flicks it. This is good.
That's the weirdest flick thing I've ever seen.
I haven't had a short beer like this since Red Stripe beer was a thing in the 2000s.
I don't understand why they're not more of a thing, because they were $4 cheaper than the other beers.
Yeah, and it's still 12 ounces. It's the same size. So, yeah, I might be a new fan of Coors Banquet.
Save on materials.
Mm-hmm. So what are we talking about?
Cobra Kai.
And what about...
Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai. You gotta do the chant.
No, I don't.
What? Oh.
I'll do whatever I want. Okay, so what are we talking about with Cobra Kai? I'm going to let you take the lead on this because you're more of the martial arts expert than I am.
Nah. Anyway, so, let's see. We were generic fans of Karate Kid, like everybody else in the world. Like, original Karate Kid. First one, good. Second one, okay. Well, it's pretty good. Third one, Terry Silver's amazing. Everything else is trash.
Yeah, the third one sucked.
And then we started watching Cobra Kai when it came out on YouTube.
No, wait, but you forgot. The movie with the girl who looks like my face.
Yeah, that movie existed.
Okay, so if you don't know what the hell we're talking about, there's the next Karate Kid, and it was with Hilary Swank. And one time AJ was talking about it, and he couldn't remember what it was, and he said, finally just lost it and said, the movie with the woman who looks like your face, because apparently I've been told I look a little bit like Hilary Swank.
A little bit.
She is attractive, so I'm not going to complain about that. I've also been told I look like Casey Anthony. So, twice.
Stick to Hilary Swank.
I'll stick to Hilary Swank.
So, okay, yeah, that one was not good. Maybe they'll bring her back somehow.
Hilary Swank's character?
Yeah.
Yes!
I mean, she's the only other student, the white student, I guess.
And then there was the one, what's the one with Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan?
Yeah, I don't think they'll bring that in, even though Will Smith is a producer on the show.
That was an excellent version. That was a great movie.
I really like
that. Okay.
Jackie Chan's the shit.
So let's talk about Cobra Kai. I want to talk a little bit about how we got into the show and how we felt about it over the past couple of years.
Like I was saying. We started back when it was on YouTube. I'm pretty sure we watched on something that was...
We watched a pirated version because who's going to pay for YouTube Red? Is YouTube Red even a thing anymore?
I don't know. Anyway, so we watched it the first season and we were just like, why is this so good?
I know. And AJ had told me about it. Said, oh, there's a show with the guy from Karate Kid, and I was like, okay, whatever. I've never really been into Karate Kid. It's just been, it's been a movie that's existed. It's like...
It's an 80s film.
It's an 80s film. So, and I was like, okay, I'll go into this with an open mind. And yeah, we were like, why is this so freaking good?
It was way better than it should have been. So much better.
Yeah, and I just love Johnny immediately. I like a good anti-hero.
I'm glad that Daniel was a fucking dick.
Daniel's a dick.
Eventually, now I just hate him outright.
Maybe we can...
In entirety.
Work our way into how we hate Daniel.
I'll move my way up.
Oh, I was about to yawn. That's your thing on our podcast.
Maybe I won't.
Maybe I will. So, yeah, the first season, which maybe was 2018 or so, it was before Netflix picked it up. And I loved Johnny's character. I liked his relationship with Miguel. It leaves you on kind of a cliffhanger a little bit. I think Miguel had been beaten up pretty badly. No. He
wins the tournament.
At the end, that's right.
They beat up Robbie.
And he beat up Robbie.
Maybe I should teach them to not be assholes and cheat and hit people that are, that have broken bones and such.
Yeah, but we were huge fans
Yeah.
when we watch it, and I think the rest of the world was too.
Everybody that decides to comment and leave a message, just tell us what your favorite like joke was, or your favorite Zopka line, Johnny line from the show, as we go along.
Everything, just his sense of humor was so dark, and like when he first meets Miguel, he's like, "Oh, I don't hire illegals," and just really like crossing the line offensive stuff, but it works for his character.
Like all the things that you really just can't make jokes with people about in their face unless you're really good friends.
But he does, and we became William Zabka fans and saw him in a Christian movie.
Which
our favorite Christian movie
might be the reason. I don't know. Maybe they saw him in that and they were like, "Let's give him a show," and they came up with this awesome idea for Cobra Kai, which again shouldn't have been this good. But so yeah, we liked the first season. We're ready to go for the second season. Netflix picked it up, and season 2.
Okay, can I just tell a little...
So much better.
Can I tell a little story about season 2? I'm going to. So season 2 came out at the end of August in 2020. What a shit year it was for us all. Gather around, children, when I tell you about the awful shit hurricane of 2020. So, of course, the pandemic's going on. I had knee surgery exactly a month before, and when you have ACL surgery, it's a really big deal. I couldn't drive. I think I was off crutches, but I had to wear a brace. I was working on trying to straighten my leg, which I still, a year and a half later, can't do fully. And so it just takes up all of your day doing knee rehab. So I was doing knee rehab the whole time. And then also, this is getting a little bit personal, my sister-in-law was pregnant, and she went to the hospital with pain, and it turned out my niece was going to be born 3 months early. And so my poor sister-in-law kept going in and out. It's not my story to tell, so I won't go into all the details, but it was a hard ride for her. It was very difficult and very scary, and so my mood went up and down of being really scared and being kind of stoic about it, and then being really excited. I remember texting middle names with my cousins. One of them suggested Batman, so I did send her a Batman doll. And then that Monday morning, I found out she'd been born, and she spent a couple months in the NICU, but she's doing well. So that season makes me think about a really tough and scary and emotional time in my life, and that was probably the most emotional season.
Yeah, and
especially the way it ended.
And then there's the crippling that happens in the show.
Yeah, so that ended with Miguel being kicked over the balcony and breaking his back, and Johnny's grief and guilt was so palpable. I think we couldn't talk to each other at the end of that episode because we knew we'd cry.
It was so... I love the ending
it was heartbreaking.
Of that season. By the way, we will probably be spoilery for the first 3 seasons because... Just watch the whole fucking... Why are you here? But the 4th season, we'll talk about things that happen that aren't really going to be spoilers, but how we felt about it.
Yeah, we'll try not to, but hold us to it. I don't know. This Coors Banquet might take me somewhere, and I might slip up a little bit.
This Coors Banquet, it was such a... they just keep that going. It's such a weird detail.
It's
but anyway,
good. I like these little beers.
First season was good. It was funny. Got right in the palm of my dick.
All the lines. There are so many lines that are so funny. They escape me right now. Got her in the palm of my dick was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Daniel is fucking piece of shit.
Oh, okay. I have to tell my joke, and then you talk about Daniel so I don't forget it. So, AJ kind of thinks about Daniel as the villain. And I said he's a villain in a way that there was a Saturday morning cartoon villain, like the Duke from Gummy Bears, where he was kind of intimidating and he was a badass sometimes, but he would always screw something up, and then they would call him Dookie at the end of the show. And the Gummy Bears would always get out of his trap or something. So Daniel is Duke, whatever, from the Gummy Bears.
Okay.
Okay, you talk about
that makes sense because
talk about him being obnoxious.
Because I originally said he was like Skeletor, and
he does not have
Skeletor.
The lines.
Skeletor is the Duke after he dies.
Queen Skeletor,
because they have the same outfit,
has the best one-liners. Oh, they do. Oh, a Gummy Bears He-Man crossover.
They're just stomping on
shit.
Fucking Gummy Bears. Anyway, so like that the show does pretty good about flipping them back and forth, like who's in the right and who's in the wrong. I think Daniel is way more wrong than he is ever right. But he's so fucking up his own asshole righteous.
It takes him 4 seasons to come to a realization and
that he's not fucking right all the time, and
can we talk
he
a little?
Still doesn't realize he should stop worshiping Miyagi just because. Very nice guy. He sort of was a father figure. Fine, he's not God.
No, and that's
Anyway.
probably a danger of any martial arts leader, or maybe you revere your grandfather so much that, his way is the highway, is his way or the highway, or whatever that is. Just be careful with how much reverence you give to one human being, that it clouds your judgment and it gives you a very narrow path that you walk on as far as your choices and decisions.
So season 2, favorite season.
Yeah, that's my favorite season.
Best emotional ending. It's like it gets to I think its darkest point. And then season 3 was the worst one. It's still good.
It's still good, but it's not memorable at all.
Well, okay, we get the backstory with Kreese.
Yes, that was
Kreese
interesting.
appears.
He appeared at the end of season 2.
At the end of season. Was
No.
it? It didn't. No.
It was the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, which was awesome.
See, it doesn't matter if we give away what happened because we get it wrong anyway.
Yeah. So, season 3, we get more of Kreese and, like, his backstory and making him feel like a real human, I guess. He's still insane, but, like, he's terrific as Palpatine in this. It's a very big Star Wars-y show, if you think about it.
Season 4 is like a Star Wars prequel, which I needed to say it so I wouldn't forget it, but let's pick that back up.
Cobra Kai is like, it's a live-action anime and a Star Wars movie at the same time.
Mm-hmm. You really see that in season 4. Do you want to talk through the rest of the seasons and then start talking about, like, the fighting styles and everything? Like, wrap up season 3?
Let's see.
Oh, okay, here was the little bone to pick with season 3. That's not how physical therapy works!
Yeah, that was the biggest fucking problem.
I guess they only had 10 episodes and they wanted to rush through Miguel getting back on his feet, literally, but he broke his back.
Okay.
He couldn't fucking walk.
Okay, the stuff they did with Allie was great. They did.
Oh yeah, the stuff with Allie was good.
I know I'm cutting that off, but I'll come back around. It'll make sense. So they sort of teased the idea that Allie's gonna come in and like help Miguel. And they're like, no, we got this other.
They really do the thing of teasing, like, this character's going to show up. Because we've been waiting for Terry Silver since season 2.
Yeah, and then they're like, no, we're not. We're not doing that.
Yeah.
No, that's silly. So they did, but whenever they do bring her in, they had a really good scene with her, a really good episode with her and Johnny. They don't decide to start getting together.
I liked that choice that they made of that they're just old friends catching up. They don't hook up or anything because Johnny had started dating
Miguel's mom. Didn't suddenly show up and see it and go like, fake drama.
Yeah, they didn't do any of that.
But
that was more realistic.
So that was the good thing with the doctors. The bad thing with the doctors. Okay, so part of the fun of the show is like the 80s firing back against, well, I say the 80s just because he was growing up in the 80s, but firing back against like fucking woke pussyism or whatever nowadays.
You're nerds and pussies. Yeah, that kind of threw me when he's calling them nerds and pussies in the first season.
So in some instances it's really good, and sometimes they go way over the top where the thing that they're using as the subject matter isn't real at all. So, which by that we mean the physical therapy.
Okay, can I talk about that? Or do you have something else?
Well, physical therapists aren't fucking hippies.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of physical therapy, not just with my knee. I've had other injuries, and I've had a lot of physical therapy. Not for my back, I will say, and I haven't had a surgery, an injury that temporarily paralyzed me either. However, it was still really dopey the way they did the physical therapy. Like, a therapist came to Miguel's home, which may or may not be. He was like a. Which they do deep tissue massage very painfully, but he was very much like, let's align your chakras
and healing crystals and shit.
No, these are Western medical professionals, so they work alongside doctors and nurses.
Hey, is that hurt? Keep going.
Yep.
fucking...
Hey, let's see if we can make it hurt more.
If anything, one of two things should have happened. They should have had him either team up with Johnny, like Johnny's coming in thinking it's going to be that guy that they put in the show, and then it turns out to be like this hard-ass, big, like, muscly dude.
Mm-hmm.
Or get Johnny to just step the fuck off. Like, learn something by staying out of his lane.
Yeah, because Johnny immediately takes over and is like, okay, we're going to put you in pulleys and throw you on the ground.
Yeah, it's so...
I think they just...
The one... I know they wanted to rush, but still, they could have done it at the same amount of time.
I wonder if they wrote themselves into a corner, like a good corner with that injury, but then they were like, oh...
I think they still could have done it in the same amount of time. But what was really good was Johnny and him just going to the rock concert.
Oh, yeah.
And he finally gets his foot moving. And that was all he needed. That was a good scene.
That was cool.
Leave it at that. Don't fuck with it. Don't add shit. Don't be like, oh, well, Johnny's his physical therapist now. He's going to start... In fact, if this really worked, he should have just went to the hospital and be like, I'm way better than your physical therapist. Give me some money. Like, I'll start working these people.
Yeah.
But, so that was... Some things were really good, and some things were not.
And Daniel and Johnny get friendly, and then they're sniping at each other, and then they get friendly. I mean, that's just
I know that's part
constant.
of the fun, and it is.
It gets
most of the time.
After a while.
Sometimes it's grating. Like, we love this show, and yet we're just gonna sit here and bitch.
No, also
it's just grating because it's not how people like really act.
No, and then season 3 was also capturing Robbie and sending him to juvie, where he got a good haircut for once.
Yeah, his hair was so
I
dumb
hated
in the
his
first
hair.
2 seasons. Oh, God.
That stupid mushroom 90s haircut. And he's a nice looking kid. He looks so much better now with a different haircut.
No offense, but he looked like a 90s lesbian.
He did look like a girl.
So, yeah, oh, God. So, his flip on Daniel doesn't make any sense to me. Because he kicked a kid, he almost murdered somebody, and then he ran away. Like, he's 17. Like, he's gonna outrun the cops for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
When he's 17. Like, he's that much of a genius. But, okay, fine. I'll take it. Because it gives us all the Palpatine stuff with Kreese, which is awesome. With Kreese, like, I'm gonna train Johnny's son. We're gonna rule the...
Now, something that,
Which is exactly like Darth Vader and... So actually, Johnny is Darth Vader.
Johnny is Darth Vader because he gets redeemed at the end and has like
Terry is Count Dooku.
Okay, we're not at Terry Silver yet, but...
I'm just saying.
Who's Kreese is Palpatine.
Kreese Palpatine.
Okay, Kreese is Palpatine. Alright, so we didn't have a big high school brawl at the end of season 3 like we did season 2, but we had a home invasion.
Yeah, that was... cool, but like...
Cool, but then also I'm just like, holy crap, you guys are getting too dark with this.
Like...
And
the fact that they didn't pursue it is the only reason that they could keep going.
Yeah, the LaRussos did not prosecute any of the kids or their parents, which that kind of becomes a storyline.
That's a real weird thing.
With Mrs. LaRusso and Tori.
Honestly, the whole... Like, this season, I was literally waiting for someone to die. Like, 4th season, after that, I don't know why, every chance I got, I was like, are they gonna kill this person? Is someone gonna die?
Yeah, fucking Tori's so intense. That bitch is gonna kill somebody, but her hair was so pretty.
And she's, I mean, she's a very attractive young woman. Anyway.
She's playing a teenager.
Yeah, but she isn't really.
I know.
So... she's legal in real life. But even still, there were things in season 4 that she was wearing
there were some outfits like necessary.
Like, I'll forget that you're playing a teenager and I'll appreciate this, but also, can you stop? Because it's weird.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Okay.
So, okay, that's season 1, 2, 3. 2 is the best, then... Tell you right now, 1 and 4 is kind of a toss-up. Like, I say 4, she says 1. So...
Like our favorites?
Yeah.
Yeah, rank your favorites.
3 is the bottom. So, because it was a filler season. Like, you can tell
the
whole time.
It wasn't
it's a
bad,
filler season.
But it wasn't...
Like, it's building up some, fight back and forth, but, the stuff with Hawk deciding to come back, that stuff, That was good in
Yeah.
season 3. For the most part. Dimitri getting good enough to fight, that stuff's kind of weird because he's still just a big dweeb. But
Aren't all martial artists big dweebs?
Yeah.
And I say this as a martial artist. We're all just a bunch of weebs.
oh yeah,
We're all weebs.
We didn't really mention that, like, the reason we're so attached is, like, okay, preface, before we bitch about a bunch of stuff, because as much as we liked season 4, the martial arts stuff is something to be critiqued, because I've done the Taekwondo for, like, 25 years, and been around all tournaments and martial arts and all that shit, and Melanie's...
If we count the time in my childhood, we'll say close to 10.
Okay, so, been around it. We know how it rolls. Not all of it, obviously, but, you know, karate and taekwondo have very similar cultures, even though they both talk shit about each other
Yeah.
with the exact same jokes.
Oh, something else good about season 2 is that Johnny was using Korean commands, and I was screaming.
Oh my god, yeah, the first time we heard Korean, we were like, oh my
I
god!
know, I would say I jumped up and danced, but knee surgery.
Yeah.
But he said chumbi, which is ready stance, and I was just like, he said chumbi!
And then in season 4, we hear not just chumbi, the entire chariat kunye chumbi, like the beginning of class. It's chariat is attention, kunye is bow, and chumbi is begin.
And the person who said that was
stance.
Terry Silver, and that
Terry
dude
Silver.
in real life is a taekwondo guy.
And he still has spin kicks.
He's the only person in that franchise who could do a good spin kick.
Because, hey, guess what we do better than you, karate?
I'm gonna take
Not all karate. I'm just messing around. But really, all the spin kicks before Terry shows up are pretty bad.
It's like they turn in a circle and then do an inside-out crescent kick.
Which is like, it's what I teach orange belts. Which is the second belt. And it's just for fun. But, that's the way you do it.
That's probably what I'm going to have to do right now.
A correct spin kick has a hook in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can, catch a fish. Anyway, I don't know.
Oh, are you turning into Mr. Miyagi?
Oh,
Hook the hook, catch fish.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. All the broken English on purpose.
Okay,
stuff.
Daniel.
Oh.
Daniel, my God. Whenever he quotes Mr. Miyagi, he does the broken English. And it's weird.
It's very disrespectful.
It's racist.
Daniel
the racist? Okay,
yes, I love that joke, by the way.
What was the thing from season 4? He was telling Johnny that Miyagi's best advice for him for being in a fight is...
Not be there.
No, it was no be
No
there.
be there.
No be there. Daniel-san.
Look, okay.
Don't be... And Johnny just goes, you mean don't be there?
Yeah. So, Taekwondo. Lots of older Korean people. Lots of every ethnic group, actually, with many differing
but a lot of
accents.
old Koreans, though.
But, so, okay, we've heard older masters and grandmasters which have good English, but there are moments when they have a sentence that sounds sort of like that, which, no problem, they're still way smarter than us. They know multiple languages, and we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very little Spanish isn't worth bragging over, so... But if I was to relay the same information that I was taught by that person to somebody else, I would not intentionally say it word for word broken. It's...
Keep going.
It's just wrong. It's like disrespecting that person that gave you the information. What matters is the meaning, not word for word messing it up.
And I told AJ either today or yesterday when we were talking about it.
God.
In my memoir, Kicking and Screaming, a memoir of madness and martial arts, I relay some conversations I had with my grandmaster, and these were real events with a real person, and his English is okay. But I didn't want to write the exact broken English.
Yeah, that would
because it seems like it would be disrespectful. It seemed like it would be making cartoony. So he doesn't have a lot of dialogue in my book, but the message was relayed. But I just
Yeah.
I don't want to be like the white lady saying, "Grandmaster talk like this," and
Mm.
it's just
Look.
it's too loaded. I don't want to do that. I felt like it would be disrespectful.
He had good enough English that he was fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, he was really funny in
And
English.
that's as good as you need to be. If you can be funny in a different language, you
So
win.
back to Daniel, he was like, okay, I'm thinking of that David Sedaris book, Me Talk Pretty, one day. And that's how Daniel sounds because he says it. It would be better if he did the accent.
Yeah, I guess.
Sometimes we'll talk about, one of the words our Grandmaster used was zigzag. But he'd say zigzag.
Zigzag.
Zigzag. And so, if you're going to say it, just do it with the accent.
I guess.
You're not making fun. You're just doing an impersonation. But the way Daniel does it, it's like, no, be there. It's worse.
Okay,
it's worse in that standard English or, just your standard American accent. Somehow it's worse.
We're all over the place, which I don't care because this is just us chatting about a show.
Okay, where do we go next?
So I want to take a step back. We're gonna kind of set up season 4.
Okay.
We're not gonna give all the details, but basically say what's going on. So the fight happened at the house. Kids are going back to school. Kreese, everybody's seen the last scene of season 3 where he makes a call, and he I can't remember what he says. It's been a while, or something like that. It's been a while. So this season opens up with this guy, and it's Terry Silver. You just know.
Yes.
Because he's playing this music at this grand piano, and it's intense, and his phone starts to ring, and he picks it up, answers it, and he hears Kreese talk, and he hangs it up.
It was perfect. Terry Silver was everything I wanted him to be.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, wait.
So, to say how we feel about Terry Silver. Best, again, we said earlier, but best part of the third movie, really the only good part of the third movie. He is an amazing, just villain. He loves being a dick, and he had great music in every time.
This wild classical music like Beethoven. Alex would love him. Alex from Clockwork Orange.
They would get along so
I feel
well.
like, you know what they would do? Alex and the Droogs would go to break into Terry Silver's multi-million-dollar mansion, and then he'd just be like, crack his knuckles and beat the ever-living shit out of them.
So,
he'd play the Ludwig van the whole time, and Alex would actually respect him.
Yeah. So let's go from there.
Season 5 starring Malcolm McDowell.
I'll just hit bullet points so we don't give too much away.
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna come back. That's why he showed up for the season. They do tease you sometimes with small things, but I don't think they would tease you with something that big and then just no, but we're not.
Just kidding. We don't have Terry Silver.
He's gonna come back. So there's the stuff with Kreese trying to get him back in, and he's behind it all. And I won't tell you the way he explains what he was doing in the 80s, but we loved it.
It was so funny.
Using the old clips from the movie was great.
Yeah.
So Kreese gets his buddy back eventually, convinces him to come in and help teach and stuff, and he sort of is. He almost seems to be a really good instructor.
Yeah.
The best of everyone, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He does some things later on that hard to say if he is really a great instructor, but when he's doing it, he seems amazing.
Yeah, he's not
maybe
proselytizing. Preening is what Kreese does a lot.
It might also have something to do with the way he's written, but it also might have something to do with the fact that this guy was in martial arts more than the rest of them. Taekwondo, specifically. Just so we're clear, the reason there is Korean in Cobra Kai is because it is either based on Tang Sudo, which pretty sure it is, or a combination of Tang Sudo and Taekwondo.
You're saying the Cobra Kai karate style.
Yes, Cobra Kai karate. Okay. Tang Sudo is technically Korean karate.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And Terry Silver, the actor who plays him, can still move pretty well because we got a yas out of AJ. I think it just, I won't say who, but
there was a bet.
There was a fight with somebody, and this old man did a back kick right in this other person's sternum, and I'm sitting on the couch, and AJ's sitting on the floor, and I hear, yes!
It didn't sound like that, but
did you yes, Queen Terry Silver?
It didn't sound like Lumpy Space Princess, but that's what
it happened so fast, and I swear it was yes.
It took me off guard. So there's this fight. Again, we're not gonna say who. Some of the fights are really good. Some of them, the one of the finale fights I didn't like, but some of the fights are really good. This particular one, it seems like the person he's fighting is going to pull out like something that we haven't seen before to win, and like that's gonna be the build-up, and then Terry Silver just stomps the shit out of that, and it's awesome. Like almost a Michael J. White back kick. It was so good.
I mean, no one's as good as Michael J. White back kick, but
mine are pretty good.
Yours are pretty good. You're no Michael J. White. He's my sidekick crush.
He's also like way up there.
He's my sidekick crush.
But anyway, so the stuff with Terry coming back in is good. Robbie, I actually like a lot more in this season.
I liked Robbie's arc.
I hate Robbie. Like, early on, he's not an enjoyable character. He's usually a dick. He's mad at everybody at some point. Or he's kind of a weird... He's like a brand new cult member. Like, when Daniel starts trying to be a role model for him and stuff, he, like, immediately starts always being ready to be taught some like karate life crossover shit, which I didn't like. It was really dweeby. But in this, he's like, you know what? I'm not attached to anybody. Kreese or Silver or my dad or Daniel LaRusso, the racist. I'm not attached to any of them.
You know, and that was
I'm going to do my thing, and it's going to work for me.
That was a theme with the kids in Season 4, was kind of not breaking away from their senseis, but realizing that maybe one way isn't the best way to do things.
Which, I mean, okay, I enjoy that, but also, this, among other things, is not new.
No, okay.
This is old, like Bruce Lee.
Well,
MMA.
And this Miyagi-Do stuff, the style that Daniel teaches, and he just gets all uppity if somebody... It's all defense. Like, well, you can't just block. You have to counter.
Every single style has defense and offense.
Every single style. Like, when a character at the end does kind of a combo of Miyagi-Do and Eagle Fang, that was the most normal-looking fighting I've seen this whole damn season.
It's so weird how they do that.
That's how you fight. Like, you block and you counter.
You're both doing karate.
Whatever.
It's not like Taekwondo and Muay Thai or something, or boxing and karate. It's just, you're both karate.
And they freak out because they think they're stealing each other's moves, or there was one is they're circling their opponent. Like, everybody circles their opponent in every fighting sport, you dumbass.
Sometimes the writing seemed like they really needed somebody who was like a real good expert who could also write.
Can we talk about like the most egregious version of that, the tournament stuff?
Okay, wait. So Kreese comes in, Terry, there's some back and forth. The kids are like finding ways to snipe at each other and then getting pissed off, and there's a lot of arguing back and forth of which is better. Like, basically make a joke, but walk away, or go ahead and fight and end it there. And there's the, you maybe guess which one is which, of Daniel and Johnny. Like, they team up and then they just break up. Like, that part's kind of weird.
Mm-hmm.
Which, it's not a spoiler, because it's just, you can tell as they're writing it.
Yeah, but they could never last the whole season.
Yeah, so, which gets kind of tiring after a while.
It really does.
Like, just stop with it. Let them come to an agreement. They can still have small disagreements, but there are definitely ways to figure out how to do this. There are schools all over the place that have teachers that teach different ways. I had teachers that liked really doing form stuff and were like really meticulous with that. And I had teachers who were really into sparring, and they still work together really well. Like, it's very weird.
If you teach it correctly, you can teach the crossover from the different skills into sparring.
Yeah. So most of the emotional stuff and the writing stuff, for the most part, pretty good.
Yeah.
We're good with everything. We like where it ended. I happen to think that we're going to get one more character back from the past, but I won't say who. There's really only one left, so if you are a dork about those movies, you could probably guess. It's not Hilary Swank. They totally could, and that would be interesting.
They're not going to bring my face back?
No, your face is staying in the past.
Okay.
But anyway, so our big beefs. There's the All Valley tournament comes back, obviously. And okay. I've been talking a lot. You give me the setup for what they're changing about the tournament.
Okay. And I don't quite remember the motivation as to why they have to change, but they have to change...
Wokeism.
Yeah, they blame it on wokeism, and so now one of the things is, we have to have girls' divisions. Bitch, there have been girls' divisions since Title IX in every sport.
Like, even...
Every sport. Karate, too.
Taekwondo in Korea won... I won't say his name. Our grandmaster. Even he, back before he even came to America, he was training military, and the military men that were stationed in Korea, they could have their families come to the base and train. Yeah.
He was training Americans in
and
Korea.
I'm sure there were probably other foreign white people. But anyway, or black people, whatever, Americans. So they could bring their families on base and train. Or he also had a school in town and such. Anyway, so he really liked the idea of teaching women, specifically, because it's kicking. You keep distance. It's good for shorter people, theoretically, to be able to kick well and strong. Not like they do today.
Good for self-defense.
Anyway, so he figured that out, and that was like the 70s, maybe.
And
could
maybe
be
even
60s.
earlier. I think the 1960s. So
Yeah.
anyway,
So
they're
this
acting
isn't.
like they're acting like, oh my god, we have to have a girls' division.
And
like,
then they
no
pat
shit.
themselves on the back over and over.
They're so proud of it. And then the other thing they do is, and I can't forget why they do
Skills.
this. Yeah, I know that, but I forget kind of why they do that.
They were talking about basically how to keep up attendance.
Keep
you
up
know?
attendance at the tournament.
Like,
which, okay, the tournament's just full of really tired, angry parents.
they're also really trying to push like this is our legacy. And last year we were attached to this big. The school fight happened with a bunch of people that came to our tournament, and karate looks bad in the valley.
So they want to make karate look
okay,
good.
we've been in on these meetings a lot. Like since
I was getting flashbacks to our tournament meetings.
I've been in these meetings since I was like 15 or 16.
Oh god, tournament meetings are the worst.
And
no, tournaments are the worst.
The parts that are correct are the ideas for random changes that don't actually affect how real normal people are going to attend your tournament. Like, that was real. That was the only thing, though. Like, I could totally hear in a tournament meeting, figuring out what we're going to do. Oh, we're doing this year because they'll, like, medals and stuff. Like, that type of thing. Like, oh, well, it'll make the parents happier and the kids happier, and then they'll come back next year. It didn't work that way. It never does. So the people who are usually talking about these things don't know anything. No offense, but it's true.
Yeah,
But the thing that was annoying to us was this weird, like, patting themselves on the back, like, we're finally going to do it. We're going to be the ones to have a girls' division, because they literally just threw in the girls with all the boys in the previous ones, and they're like, this doesn't look very good.
And can I say, as an educated, financially independent, feminist woman, girls and women aren't as strong as boys and men, and they will. I'm going to leave it at that. I think there should be separate men's and women's divisions.
There's
a reason there's a separate division in sports. There, I said it. I'm going to back up now.
So, So that was really annoying, because it's not new.
It's not new.
They acted like maybe it was even like, okay, maybe we're not the first, but we'll be like one of the first.
People aren't going to congratulate you for
doing this thing that everyone else has been doing for 20 years.
Every sport in the world has separate... The Olympics has men's and women's divisions.
And skills. Skills, which would be
this was really...
board breaking and forms, probably creative forms, and weapons.
Oh, definitely creative forms.
Those already all exist and have for a long time in karate tournaments and taekwondo tournaments.
Yeah, and
they will, they always...
And they missed their chance on a joke, because at first they were just like, oh, why would we do that? I wish they would have said, but then we'll be like taekwondo. Because taekwondo's the butt of the jokes in the martial arts world, and some of it is bullshit. But everybody's martial art has some bullshit in it. So...
Very true.
Had they taken a cheap shot at taekwondo, I would have actually laughed. But karate does that too. I'm friends with people on Facebook who post things of, like, they did their sai and their bow staff weapons stuff at a tournament. I don't know if they're as big on board breaking as taekwondo, but they're huge on kata, which are their forms, and weapons.
Personal opinion. Okay, so we came from a really old school grandmaster.
Old school Korean.
Like we said, this man trained military personnel and cross-trained in at least Hapkido, if not other things, and was back before the Olympics set up, and all the way through...
He helped get Taekwondo into the Olympics.
Yeah, he's the one that got the first Australian Taekwondo competition in the Olympics. But before the electronic Hogus where everybody tapped each other, he would even make fun of them.
Chicken fighting.
They're really great athletes, but it's just not what we did. Mm-hmm. So it's they can still fight, but it's very different the way we fought.
Different stuff.
So when our school and other schools started doing this Hanmadang thing, it's the same thing. It's basically all encompassing. That's kind of what that translates.
Yeah, it's like all.
We had board breaking and forms and which we always did forms and sparring. Forms, creative pumse, which is forms, and weapons. The weapons thing bothered me. It always has, always will, because Taekwondo doesn't traditionally really have a lot of weapons. We had bow staff.
Yeah.
That was it. If you wanted to learn a Korean style for weapons, I guess Gumdo would be it, which is kind of just Kendo in Korea. That's about it. So that's not even Taekwondo. That stuff bothered me. Yeah. So I could get them which Johnny does. Johnny's like, this is bullshit.
Yeah,
this is skill shit.
The weapons stuff has gotten kind of silly, and I'll share a quick example. I'll clean it up a little bit. So I was at a tournament. I was doing board breaking, and there was this chick doing a bow staff thing, and they played music and everything. They probably wouldn't allow me to play the music I would want to play, because it'd be all rap. But she had like a sparkly bow staff, and for her final move, she has the bow staff straight up, like vertically. Bitch does the splits in the air. Screams. Bloody murder. Not even just a key-up. It was a scream. And she just falls straight over, right on her pussy. That was the end of her demonstration.
You really cleaned that up, huh?
I'll bleep it, or maybe I won't.
Anyway. We also don't care for creative forms. Because most of it it's points based on flips and stuff, which is useless. It's
acrobatics, and
I don't even like Tegu! And those are the forms everyone does, except for us, because we did Pogway. She does.
Yeah.
Tegu.
Okay. So
anyway, so we're getting way off on Taekwondo stuff.
Okay. Back to saying, martial artists are all fucking weebs.
This is true too.
We're weebing out. Sorry.
It's a silly thing.
It really is. I heard one of my favorite podcasters, Michael Hobbs, who did a show called You're Wrong About, now he does the one called Maintenance Phase, just said, like, everybody's thing is stupid. Your thing is stupid, my thing is stupid, everybody's thing is stupid, so let's just leave each other alone. All of our hobbies are just our silly things that we like to do.
Our silly thing is kind of just an aggressive form of tag.
Especially now.
Like, yeah.
With the way sparring is
but
now.
Any of them. Okay. I'm just gonna be a dick for a second. No offense, but
You sure say no offense a lot.
Anyway, so I watched this guy Sensei Seth that loves to talk shit about Taekwondo and call us. It's funny. He calls it safe space karate, but at least Taekwondo, when you hit somebody, you don't stop like you're an unstoppable force where you kicked through a person.
Oh, like, yeah, they stop every time they get a point?
We actually keep going.
Oh, yeah, you just keep
going. You don't stop when you get hit. And start at the center again because you tapped him one time. Oh, that was the end of the fight. If that was a real fight, he would have exploded.
Yeah,
so that's my nitpick about karate. That's
how sparring works. You don't stop every time you get a hit.
It's so weird. But it's part of the tradition of Karate Kid, so it makes sense. And it's fine in a movie. It looks cool. So we have crisscrossing of characters and whatnot. They all end up at different schools, and they have the 3 schools that are like the main ones. And none of the other schools get lip service at the tournament. They basically act like there's only 3 schools.
I was really hoping that there would be an upset, and one of them, or just random Valley karate schools, would win, because there was a bet that they put against Kreese is that if we win the tournament, you have to stop teaching Cobra Kai. And if you win, we'll stop teaching.
Yeah. And we won't say who won. Or how they resolve that.
It was the All Valley K Tiger Karate School.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
That would be.
If a totally different school won because they were way better at, like, skills. Because, basically, they have a champion fight for men and women. And then they have, like, the overall school.
Yeah, the overall score.
Which isn't really fair because these schools are going to have a different number of people, but whatever. That's not worth nitpicking over. Everything else is worth nitpicking over.
Yeah, okay, did we make our point about the skills thing with the tournament? It's not that they did the skills, it's that they were acting like this was some newfangled thing nobody had ever heard
all of it. Everything that they came up with.
That's how every single tournament works. At least with karate and taekwondo. I know BJJ didn't do skills and bullshit like that, but karate and taekwondo do that stuff all the time. It's not new.
I know that the characters that are the board members are supposed to just kind of be for fun in a way, and that's fine. But, like I said in a couple of these other reviews we've done, the more I watch shows and movies, the more I wonder what the person writing it is saying versus what they're showing versus what the person's saying on screen.
Yeah, was there nobody who just said, these already kind of
these have existed for a long time. It was fine in 85 or 84 whenever the first one came out because they maybe didn't have all that back then.
Yeah, it was probably just fighting.
Karate wasn't as big. That helped boost it up. That helped boost up Taekwondo too. So it wasn't as big of a thing. But nowadays, it's commonplace. It's not special. It's weird that you made it look like it was special.
Yeah, and I guess for the muggles who don't know anything about martial arts tournaments, maybe that's a revelation, because I guess most people probably think, a tournament, you fight, that's it.
Yeah, this is real. Okay, if you're just a person that watches it, you don't give a shit about martial arts, it's just like, it's fun to watch, because everyone watches action movies, but nobody jumps off of buildings. Then you won't care.
Yeah.
This is just us being bitches about it. Because we can be.
Isn't our show called Movie Pain or Pleasure? And that's our shtick, because we complain.
And we love it. We love the show.
Guilty pleasure for sure, but there's a little bit of hate watching in there too.
Yeah, we have that privilege.
Some of the fighting, don't you have some issues?
So, okay, I didn't like. I won't say when, but I don't think this is a spoiler. You know, Tori and Sam are gonna fight. Yeah. Okay? When they do fight, I didn't like the fight. They keep building up Tori across the seasons as, like, this person you're supposed to, like, want to follow. Like, she's supposed to be Rey from Star Wars.
Oh, we need to bring that back.
Now, I didn't hate Rey. I didn't care. But I hate Tori. No, I'm sorry. I like Tori. I hate Sam. I hate Sam as much as I hate Daniel. Oh, okay. So, that being said, might as well talk about what I hate about Daniel LaRusso.
I hate. It is all I'm programmed to do. I hate. That was Patton Oswalt, so I didn't make that up.
I really do. I fucking think he's a horrible teacher. And I've heard people, like, say that he's a good instructor. He is awful. And I mean on the actual instruction. I'll get to some of his other shit. But he doesn't know how to teach anything. Because Miyagi taught him alone as a single student. And he thinks anything Miyagi did, that's the way you do it. That's it. He is a moron. They talk shit about the whole choring thing. Like, it was fine in the original because it was kind of like, ooh, it's mystic, it's karate. But nowadays we know this is stupid. Doing this to teach someone outside, inside block, inside, outside block.
Acting like,
I can do that in 1 hour.
Acting like blocking is groundbreaking.
Well, that you have to do these things to trick your body to do. Just tell them what you're teaching them. They will figure it out. I always came up. Okay.
I just hit a kid on the head with a focus pad, no block.
There's that too. I would say I don't think I was a great teacher. I think I was pretty good.
You were a good teacher.
But what I do think I was good at was coming up with ways to explain something to make it make sense for the student. Whether it be a simile or a metaphor or like a breaking it down into a different body motion, whatever it happened to be.
Mm-hmm.
I used to come up with new ways of doing kicks and stretches and stuff to force people to do motions, like a spin kick, that they weren't used to. The one I made you do on the wall where you grab the bar and turn and spin. Anyway.
Well, I always like that you explain why you do things.
Yeah. So, I know what it takes to be a good instructor. And Daniel is terrible. Whenever they're doing their form in season 2, I think.
Yeah, because Robbie's doing it.
They're doing a form in tandem. Now, they're not...
Robbie and Sam.
Sometimes they're looking at each other and sometimes they're not. And they're supposed to stay on the same pace. Now, I looked into some of the stuff, like the behind-the-scenes stuff. And they said in an interview they got really good at doing it together because they learned to, they breathed at the same time, which, guess what? That's exactly how you teach a huge group of people. I'm not talking 2. I'm talking an entire room full of people to do a whole form at the exact same time and stop at the exact same time in the exact same spot.
Yeah, because you change directions in a form, so you can't always see what somebody's doing. You have to listen for when they move and when they breathe.
And everyone basically breathes at the same speed as long as it's the same intention. If it's a slow motion, you're probably going to breathe at the same slow speed. If it's a quick, you're going to breathe at the same speed.
Sounded like a knife hand.
So that's all he, as Daniel, the teacher, would have to tell them. But no, he was like, get on this balance thing where you can feel the other person's feet underneath you. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
So they can fall in the water.
I used to train a whole room full of kids. Sometimes when we were lucky, we had big 28 people classes, and I could get, for the most part, if everyone knew what the form was, for them all to stay together in the same speed. Literally just by teaching them to breathe. The actors figured it out, and the writers just made it where Daniel had no idea what he was doing about it. And they made him do all this extra shit and made it look like, look how smart he is. He figured out how to teach him how to do it. It's not hard. It's just, you're an fucking idiot. And he always thinks he's right. He teaches them shit that doesn't have anything to do with anything. Like blocking is supposed to be the answer to everything. You have to hit people back.
Yeah, you have to counter. I mean, how can you win it? If you're fighting for points, how can you win any points if you don't counter?
There was stuff with Sam where she was doing shit like that, where she was like, she knows how I block, so what am I supposed to do?
No shit! He didn't invent blocking.
It's blocking!
It's blocking!
Oh, God. So I didn't like the Tori and Sam fight.
No, it wasn't very good. And
also, I know I'm the one talking a lot. My bad. But
no, it's not. It's your show, too.
One last thing. Okay, Daniel as a teacher. He nitpicks and bitches about every fucking thing his students do. Everything. Nothing is ever right. And he never does it mean, but it's every single time. If you go back and watch the whole series, every time somebody does something, he will tell them, oh, no, just remember, this thing, you might get slapped in the dick by a lobster. Don't do it. Like his daughter specifically does this weird, like, lean down turning back kick, which, by the way, a standing back kick is better.
She got down like on all fours and did a back kick.
Which, I mean, if you're there, sure.
If you're already on the ground, but don't go down on the ground to do it.
I don't think I need to, like, put time into that. We sort of did. We had there's a training thing you do where you lay on your side and you do your side kicks, so your body's already in side motion.
But it's not like kick.
It's for the actual side kick. It's not its own thing. But it may have had to. Anyway, so she does this turn back kick thing.
I mean, all fights go to the ground.
Shut up. God, that he taught her to do, and he specifically is like, oh, it looks pretty good. But just remember, you're going to leave yourself open to an attack if you miss. And that's the one I always remember, but he does it about everything. Like,
and that's very interesting because
if that's what you did as a teacher, you would never feel comfortable doing anything.
No, because you're second-guessing yourself the whole time. Anyway, that move comes up later. Let's see.
Yeah, it's... Oh, and they make this big weird thing about the 360... tornado kick.
A flying tornado kick.
They call it flying tornado.
It's
just a 360 roundhouse, and I taught it to, like, green belts, which aren't even quite halfway point, and they're acting like all these kids that are, like, freaking gymnasts in this show, and they're black belts, whatever, every time they go to a tournament. They're like, oh, I can't figure out how to do it. What's it for? It's not mystical. It's 360 roundhouse.
Just a kick that moves forward most of the time.
God. You can do it standing in the same spot, though, if you're good.
Or if you want to tear your ACL.
Anyway.
I tore my ACL doing a 360.
So...
It wasn't because of the 360. It was just my knee had it. It was worn down. And it was like, now's a good time to pop.
So, okay, so the Tam and Sori fight.
Tam and Sori, those are the new names.
Getting into Letterkenny.
Tam and Sori, what's the story?
That's pretty good. I didn't... Oh, by the way, finish Letterkenny season 10.
Much better than season 9.
Very good. Very good.
It makes us both want to live in a small town again.
Yeah, watch it. Anyway. So, okay... There is... Okay, do you want to talk about the one silly fight? It was a good fight.
Which one?
You don't remember?
I don't remember.
Oh, dear God. So, there's this big... I won't say who's in it, I guess. Because, it's part of the tournament. But... At one point, like, someone's uniform sort of comes undone incorrectly. And he's like, first he's sort of putting it back in, and he's just like, screw this.
Takes the
and
top
he takes
his
his
gi
whole
off.
top, his gi off. Dobok, in Korean. So he takes it off, he throws it aside, and the other fighter, he looks at the ref, and the ref is just like...
Shrugs.
And then this kid is like, alright, and they, like, it was really funny, it was very silly, but I guess the actors wanted to show off their abs, I guess.
They'd been working out or dehydrating.
Well, one of them was, like, not a lot of muscle, but just shredded stomach, and then the other one, you can tell he's been working out since, like, last season or whatever.
Yeah.
So, okay, cool, it was really weird, it was very anime.
It was very anime.
So, yeah. So, all the stuff that happens with each individual character is where they end up by the end. I can say I'm pretty happy with the whole thing about that.
Mm-hmm.
We bitch about the fighting and the weird tournament stuff, but if you're just an average viewer.
Will
It won't matter.
Will the average person like it? Yeah, and will the
Yeah.
martial arts snobs like it? Why not?
It's my second favorite season.
Yeah.
And it's right there with number 1. It's very close. The unsung hero is Daniel's wife.
Yeah.
Because she's awesome in every scene
Her
she's
wardrobe,
in.
and she talks shit to everybody.
Everybody. Like,
Oh.
she's the only sane person.
Star Wars.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. This show is very It is Star Wars. It just is. There are moments when people you don't know exactly who they are from Star Wars, but for the most part, most of the time, Kreese is Palpatine. Calm, reserved, but filled with anger, and very controlling.
And he wants to sell people on power.
Yeah.
Ultimate
Terry.
Power. Unlimited power.
Silver is Count Dooku, because he's just as old.
That was Christopher Lee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's sort of the henchman. Johnny is, I guess, Darth Vader, although he has like a better arc than Darth Vader, and it makes Robbie not Anakin, Luke, I guess. Which
And then who's Miguel?
kind of works. I don't know that. Oh,
Well, no, I mean
wait.
Johnny would be Anakin because Anakin is Darth Vader.
Well, I didn't say. Yeah, that's what I said.
I thought Qui-Gon Jinn came into the picture at one point.
Yeah, at one point I called somebody Qui-Gon Jinn.
Johnny, and then you said...
Well, I said Qui-Gon Jinn was Johnny because he's sort of a gray Jedi. Like, he's not bad, but he's edgy, but he's good, but he'll probably call you a pussy.
Yeah.
Anyway, they change. They rotate.
Yeah, for a while, because I was like, Kreese is Palpatine. Oh, Terry Silver is Palpatine. Oh, no, Kreese is Palpatine again.
Kreese is Palpatine. Terry is still Dooku, but it's not... They don't have the same story arcs. Like...
No.
Like, Terry doesn't get his head chopped off.
No one gets their head chopped off.
Luckily. Stingray makes an appearance.
Yes.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Every time they sort of teased up a character and we were like, is that it? Is that him? It's him! Ah! We had that, like, moment
so that was
times.
fun. There were a lot of moments like that in Season 4.
So, man, we rambled like a motherfucker this time.
Oh, it's
I don't care. This one was kind of random. This wasn't, like, we didn't plan it out. This wasn't, like, a scheduled, we're gonna do this. We watched the season as soon as we could, because we were, like, really waiting for it.
Yeah,
this
I've been
whole
waiting to wear my
pandemic.
sweatshirt.
My uncle beat us to it. He watched it at like 2 a.m. the whole thing before us. Like, y'all watched it yet? No, it was the next morning. And I'm talking to him like, we literally just watched the first episode. He's like, oh, all right. Well, I already watched the whole thing. I didn't like the very beginning of it, but I like the rest of it. And I was like, all right, cool. He likes it even more than we do. But any final thoughts on anything?
It'll be very interesting to see what happens in Season 5 because there's a lot of tension. Things have fallen apart. Things have gotten bad for certain characters.
Some people come back in from other moments in the show, and it's awesome. I won't say. All I will say is Tybalt.
Oh,
because
that's a very
that won't make any sense to anyone watching us.
To me.
But it makes sense to us because when we watched the Romeo and Juliet anime,
which was amazing,
and when Tybalt showed up, we were both like Tybalt, which is the dorkiest thing ever.
Tybalt was Juliet's cousin.
Yeah. And he was the badass in the play, so as soon as he popped up in the anime, we were like, God, what are we going to get out of this? We had Haggins and Tybalt. Anyway, so some you'll get some of that.
Terry Silver is, I think I commented on somebody's Facebook.
He's delightful.
He was everything I hoped he would be, a Sith Lord.
At first, when he showed up, I was like, Tim Robbins?
He looks like a tall, thin Tim Robbins.
It's
the same guy.
It's still Terry Silver, and he gets back to himself. Like, at first he's not, and then he can slip right back into that role. I wish he had more of a career just based on this.
He would be like a good, not Bond villain level, but a good villain.
A Seagal villain.
Ooh.
If him and Steven Seagal were in their primes, just tearing up the screen, tearing up the background.
Was Steven Seagal ever in his prime?
I mean, when he did his first, 3 movies.
They could both have the ponytail.
Yeah. I'm more Italian.
Reach over and yank on each other's ponytails.
Well, then Steven would win because he was in Aikido. Anyway, so, yeah, great season.
It was good, as much as we complained about it.
Yeah, I'm still cool with all the character stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The storylines were great for the most part. There's probably just a couple things we were being bitches about.
There are things I'm really anxious to see how it gets resolved or not.
Yeah, we thought this was the last season, and then it's very much not.
Oh no, too many cliffhangers.
There's at least one more. And
there's gotta be.
Ooh, I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So...
Because now it's not just karate tournaments anymore, some serious life shit stuff is happening to several of the characters. Yeah. So, yeah.
Just a thought. People who write this show are never going to see us, and they'll probably stop. Even if they did, they'd probably fuckers, they don't know what they're talking about. Turn us off. They should bring in some, big name, if they can get them, some big name karate people. Michael J. White, Wonder Boy Thompson, is it Wonder Boy Thompson? Anyway, Wonder Boy the fighter would be awesome. Sensei Seth would be interesting. Or Jesse Incamp.
Jesse Incamp, yeah, because he's allowed to. I would love to see Jesse Incamp, totally kind of school Daniel, because he knows all the traditional Okinawan stuff.
2 things.
And to kind of fact check him on some things.
2 things. Jesse is the real life, but really good version of what Daniel could have been.
What Daniel wishes he could be.
Yes. And 2, a huge gripe I have, which I didn't talk about earlier, with I guess this is a writing thing. Because it seems like it's written by people who don't understand martial arts. You do not use martial arts to explain to people life lessons, which they do constantly. That's different. It was your personal experiences that happen to be in a martial art. But as an instructor...
If you're just listening, I was holding up my book.
As an instructor, you do not tell people, this is the way you fight. So this is, in this martial arts, so this is the way you deal with life. They do it constantly, and it's wrong.
Yeah, they're acting like it's church or something.
Here's what you get out of doing a martial art, and how it affects your life. It does. But this is what that means. You train at something that is difficult, that has a certain amount of getting hit, which is just part of... I think everyone needs to get hit. It's a thing just you need to feel and get used to. People learn what they're good at and get to feel like they're growing at a skill. Those are the life lessons. But you don't physically tell them. You can give them advice when you get to know people and things like that. If they have something, they should always be able to come to you if you are the person that's good for that. But those feelings they get from the martial art, they take that and their confidence and their persona changes. They take that into the real world.
Yeah, I mean, no one said to me, "Hey, Melanie, when you're having one of your mental health breakdowns, the skills you learn in Taekwondo can really help you." I figured that out for myself.
Yeah, you do that with your own life, and it's a transition. But you could have learned that from other things. You could have learned that from getting good at a sport. A lot of people do that. It's a sport they get good at and they learn confidence in. We just happen to do Taekwondo. And other people happen to do other martial arts. That's all. You don't fucking... It's very culty. And we're trying to stay away from the culty aspect. Mm-hmm. We don't like that.
No, we don't.
We don't. Any ideas for recommendations of anything? Just to... if this catches their itch, but they need something more.
The Karate Kid 3, if you haven't seen it, Terry Silver is a delightful character.
He's worth
also, it. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Karate Kid remake with Jaden Smith, Will Smith's son.
It's just called Karate Kid.
It is just called called Karate Kid.
Jackie Chan Karate Kid. It's awesome.
Yes, Jackie Chan is kind of the Miyagi teacher character, so that would be my recommendation.
Okay. My recommendation is Blood and Bone. It's like a real martial arts movie. For me, anyway. It's still Hollywoodized, but it's Michael J. White, a legitimate, high-ranking karate practitioner who has also done other things, has the best kicks, like, ever, outside of Scott Adkins. Still very different, though.
Different. Scott Adkins does spinny stuff, and Michael J. White does straightforward stuff.
Yeah.
That's the best the simplest way to differentiate.
I think it's Michael J. White's best movie, which I hope that doesn't stay his best movie, but...
I still think Black Dynamite was his best movie.
It's his funniest movie. I don't think it's his best, like, film.
No.
As a film. But that's my recommendation. I actually got the urge to watch it when we were watching this season of Cobra Kai, because it's more gritty and like the fighting makes more sense and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's pretty much everything. Watch it. It's awesome. Stuff at the tournament doesn't make any sense. It's out of date, pretty much. But, yeah. I don't know. They won't know what that means.
Well,
so
Gamsamada, thank you. And
I should have thought of that.
Well, I thought of it.
Follow us, Twitch, IG, YouTube, all the things.
Anchor, Spotify, iTunes.
Those two. We finally added our YouTube and our IG to our Twitch, so check it out. We have a bunch of older videos, and most of them are good. Just
I think they're all good.
Give it a shot. Help us get up to like our first 10,000. We're almost at 3. So
we don't like cults except for our cult. So join our cult and be my victim.
That. Bye. Cobra, bye.